Good morning, glad you could join us. These have been extraordinary days, weeks, months, years, right? I mean, we're more than 2 years into just probably a couple of the stranger years that any of us have ever lived. And often there's something that affects some people, but not everybody. But what we've gone through the last 2 years has affected everyone. I was talking to somebody that early on in the pandemic was saying, no, I don't think I'm really affected. And I was kind of surprised to hear that they said, well, no, it has affected me. I had a chance this past week to talk to somebody who's involved in ministry and just how stressful the last 2 years have been. Had a chance this past week to talk to somebody who works in mental health profession and just how difficult it was to try to connect with people, especially seniors, with all kinds of masks, and I mean, not just one mask, but 2 masks, all these things, and to not be able to connect with people and to know that people are suffering. These have been extraordinary times. And we would do well to recognize this is not business as usual. The last 2 years have not been normal, and they've affected a lot of people in a lot of ways, and there's all sorts of anxiety and different things. But I want to encourage you today because God is above the fray. God is above everything that's happening on planet Earth. I like to think of the orb, the beautiful orb with its blues and greens floating in space on the path that God has ordained for it. And God is outside of it, above it, and yet He enters into it with us. I love what it says in Jeremiah 17, verse 7. Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord and whose hope is the Lord. Not just their hope is in the Lord, their hope is the Lord. And ultimately, I think that's what God wants to bring us to, that there's so many things in our world that are wrong here in the United States, around the globe. We could spend a lot of time doing that. But God is above those things. And I want to encourage you with that today, that He's not shaken by all of this. Read something by Max Lucado, and it comes from his book, Glory Days. And just think of the different areas that have been affected in the last couple years. I like this. Pain does not plague God. I'm not saying that God doesn't feel your pain, but He's not overwhelmed by it. He's not scared of it. It's not something that He's like, well, how can we fix this? He can solve pain. The economy does not faze Him. Gas prices don't blow God away. They might blow us away. I got to tell you this. I was driving down the street the other day. I looked in my rearview mirror, and there was gas for $2.12. I wanted to turn around and get it, and then I realized you're looking in your rearview mirror. It's $5.15. But God's not concerned about the economy. The weather, God's not like sweating the weather. There's so many things. Elections, they don't define who He is. He's the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. He's on the throne. Diseases do not infect Him. We know that eventually all of us will move from this realm to the next. And yeah, we suffer through some different things along the way, but we can find Him even in our darkest hours. And people keep asking me how my hand's doing. I have a dislocated bone and I had a very minor fracture. And I just feel like it's healing well. And that even when something goes that wrong, that God's there to bring healing. And I'm grateful for the medical personnel, the doctors, everyone that helped out. And even death can't claim God. He is immune to death, and Jesus overcame it for us for all time. I love the words of Jesus. What's the mountain in your life? That's what I want to ask you today. What's the mountain? What's the thing that you're focusing on? You're just like, we'll never make it. We can't get over this. Because the truth of the matter is that to God, it's not a big deal. We're making a mountain out of a molehill. Jesus said this, I tell you the truth, if you had faith even as small as a mustard seed, you could say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it would move. Nothing would be impossible. Why? Because nothing is impossible to God. And today, I want to invite you to take your eyes off the mountain and put your eyes on God. Have a great day.